Before we proceed, be aware viewer discretion is advised. What follows is intended purely for educational and entertainment use. These are the exact federal courtroom statements from the trial of Sean Diddy Combs, as documented by Inner City Press. When Katt Williams entered the courtroom, no one dared to chuckle. The man, typically known for his wild stand-up routines and internet-breaking rants, was now under oath, and what he revealed sent shockwaves through the entertainment world. For years, Katt had been publicly calling out major names: Jay-Z, Tyler Perry, Kevin Hart, Steve Harvey, T.D. Jakes, Ricky Smiley. Most people brushed him off as a lunatic, but now, those very names were surfacing in official legal filings linked to the federal probe into Diddy. In court, Katt verified everything: the private events, the non-disclosure agreements, the covert recordings, the manipulated careers that fed one man's empire. And it wasn't just Diddy. Katt laid bare an entire constellation of stars complicit in climbing the ladder. This wasn't stand-up, it was a siren. Because Katt didn't just claim to have evidence, he brought it. And the people he named, they might not come back from this. The courtroom was stunned. Journalists murmured. Social media exploded. And there he stood, Katt Williams, dressed sharp and dead serious, walking into court not as a performer, but as a government witness. No crew, no cameras, just a folder in hand and a gaze that cut like steel. When he sat and took the oath, the room fell completely silent. Then, in the same voice that once had crowds roaring, he began, "Let me make this plain. Under oath, no jokes. Y'all laughed when I warned you." He told the court that nothing they were about to hear was news to him. He'd been saying this for years, but no one took him seriously because he hid truth inside comedy. "When you make folks laugh, they stop listening," he said. "But I wasn't just clowning, I was giving facts between the jokes." Katt recalled that years ago, he saw a strange trend: the same famous faces always popping up at secret gatherings, vanishing for weeks, then suddenly reappearing with major deals, awards, or streaming contracts. One year a brother's scraping the D-list, the next bam 3 months after a certain party. He's front and center in Hollywood blockbusters. That's when Katt unleashed his first bombshell. "You want to asterisk to understand the connection," Katt said. "You had to look at one thing: they all moved in the same orbit. Sean Diddy Combs." The courtroom leaned forward. Katt continued, explaining that Diddy wasn't merely a music executive, he was the gatekeeper to a darker, more sinister side of Hollywood. "This stopped being about music a long time ago," he said. "Now it's about power, who you're tied to, what you're willing to do, and what secrets you'll bury." Then came the line that froze the room. "I'm not here by choice," Katt said. "I'm here because if I stay quiet, I'm next." That moment marked a turning point. The court understood this wasn't going to be some routine celebrity testimony. It was about to become a reckoning, and every name tied to it would feel the impact. When asked to name names, Katt didn't hesitate. "You want names?" he said. "Cool, I got names." And he started naming them: Jay-Z, Tyler Perry, Kevin Hart, Ricky Smiley, Steve Harvey, Ludacris, LeBron James, T.D. Jakes, Ashton Kutcher, Justin Bieber. Each name sent a wave through the courtroom. These weren't fringe figures or anonymous insiders, they were global icons. According to Katt, each had been to parties, private gatherings, or meetings hosted or orchestrated by Diddy. But those events, he said, weren't the glittering Hollywood galas the public imagined. They were something else entirely. These weren't parties, he said. They were ceremonies, initiations. He claimed Diddy used these gatherings to collect leverage: confiscated phones, mandatory NDA letters, hidden cameras still running in the background. "You think it's a coincidence they all say the same stuff and protect the same people?" Katt asked. "They know they're being recorded, or worse." He alleged Diddy didn't just gather dirt, he created it. "Folks walking clean," he said. "They leave dirty, and they can't ever wash it off." He described a pattern: actors suddenly landing dream roles, comics jumping from clubs to sold-out arenas, musicians exploding onto a radio playlist with zero marketing but always with Diddy's imprint behind the scenes. "You think it's just talent? Please. Half of them couldn't fill a high school auditorium without that machine backing them." Then Katt made his most damning statement yet. "I'm not saying everyone who showed up did something," he said. "I'm saying they all saw what went down and not one of them said a word. That makes them guilty by silence." Of all the names mentioned, one in particular shook the courtroom: Tyler Perry. And Katt noticed. He stared straight at Diddy, then shifted to the jury and said, "Let's talk media." He was clear. This ain't about gender or acting. This is about power, symbolism, and sacrifice. "You really think a billion-dollar studio came out of wigs and church jokes?" "No, that was a transaction." Katt alleged Perry's rise: his early plays, his first film deals, And even those initial box office hits weren't just lucky breaks. They were orchestrated by Diddy's inner circle. He claimed early showings of Diary of a Mad Black Woman and Medea's Family Reunion had bad boy staff handling Logistic Express access, guest lists, and celebrity appearances. That wasn't luck, Katt said. That was a hand-picked path. And the price? Loyalty. Then Katt revealed another shocking twist. Tyler told his male actors. Katt revealed that Tyler Perry told his male actors to avoid associating with him. You know why? Because I caught him enjoying himself at one of those parties, Katt alleged. Tyler, once fully embraced by Hollywood, began distancing himself from anyone who might expose the truth. He didn't want the world to know who really helped him climb the ladder, because then questions would follow. Katt also named several actors Lamb, Rucker, Time, Durant who underwent drastic changes after working with Perry. Look at who they were before. Look at who they became after. Then Katt delivered a line that went viral almost instantly. Every year a new media company. Every year a new wig. Every year a new paycheck. But never, not once, has he used his platform to speak on what really happens behind those velvet ropes. He paused and added, "That's not entertainment. That's obedience." When Kevin Hart's name came up, Katt didn't hesitate. "Let's talk about the golden boy," he said. Locking eyes with the jury, Katt claimed Kevin's rapid rise wasn't just talent or hustle. You think Kevin jumped from Bet Comic View to billion-dollar franchises by chance? You think going from canceled sitcoms to sold-out stadiums in under 5 years is normal? He leaned in. No, that's what happens when you say yes. That's what happens when you take the deal. Addressing the viral line about turning down $50 million to keep his integrity and Virgin whole, Katt clarified it wasn't a joke, it was a warning. That was me telling the world Kevin said yes to something I wouldn't a real deal. The kind no one talks about unless they whisper. Katt said Kevin's career boom started shortly after linking up with producers tied to Diddy's investment network. Look at the timeline, the movies, Netflix, partnerships. There's always a bad boy stamp on those contracts. He also claimed Kevin was seen at several private Diddy parties, including one in Miami in 2013 with a gold room setup, similar to what Cassie Ventura testified about. But the real shocker, Kevin wasn't just a guest, he was a handler. The smiling distraction, the one who made new recruits feel safe. That's why he was always present but never caught on tape. Katt said when he rejected a similar offer, doors closed, deals vanished. Tours canceled while Kevin got greenlit for Ride Along, Night School, and Jumanji. You don't get 3 back-to-back hits unless someone upstairs signs off. He finished with a harsh truth. They say Kevin Hart's funny, but that laugh came with a price, and I wasn't willing to pay it. Katt then shifted focus to 2 more names tied closely to Diddy's rise: Ricky Smiley and Steve Harvey, whose careers were allegedly used to normalize the power structure behind the scenes. Starting with Ricky, Katt asked, "Ever wonder how Ricky Smiley went from prank calls to starring in movies and hosting syndicated radio? It wasn't the jokes, it was the dress." Katt revealed Ricky only broke into TV and film after attending a series of exclusive Atlanta parties hosted by Puffy's Southern team. No open invites, just a curated guest list. People who could be useful, silent, compliant. Then came the bombshell: I put it in my contract that I wouldn't work with Ricky again, unless he was in a dress. Why? Because that's where he's most believable. I wanted the world to see how they reward submission. Ricky's first Sunday role, appearing in a wig and dress, was the exact condition Katt set to expose the pattern. You want that back? You know what to do. And Ricky did it. Then Katt moved to Steve Harvey, calling him the godfather of commercial obedience. He alleged Steve climbed the ranks not just by playing media, but by playing silence. He saw what Diddy was doing, and instead of speaking out, brought his daughter to dinner with him. Katt referenced Lori Harvey's well-known relationship with Diddy and how Steve smiled beside him, even after she dated Diddy's son Justin. What kind of father does that? One who's so deep in it. Katt also accused Steve of stealing ideas, including a TV pitch Katt circulated in the early 2000s. The Steve Harvey Show. That was my format. They changed the name, changed the city, and gave it to the guy who said yes. Katt didn't hold back. Steve Harvey made his name hosting shows, writing books, and Katt didn't hold back when he named TD Jakes. There was no laughter or smirk, he said the name slowly, like loading the last bullet in a gun's chamber. Let me break it down for you. Katt began. When rumors start creeping into tabloids, when the whispers get too loud, the industry doesn't run, they pray. Or at least, that's the image they want you to see. He accused Diddy's PR machine of weaponizing the church not as a sanctuary, but as a shield. You think TD Jake's preaching at Diddy-backed gospel concerts was about saving souls. No. It was about cleaning up an image. According to Katt, Jake's provided a holy veneer over the darkest parts of the entertainment world. They threw concerts with velvet ropes, gold-plated communion tables, VIP seats at gospel shows. More than that, Katt claimed Jake's personally silenced several gospel artists who witnessed what went on at crossover events. Linked to Bad Boy Entertainment, they were warned to stay quiet, told speaking out would hurt the church's mission. But what about the victims? Then came the bombshell. Jake's didn't just pray over Diddy, he helped cover up his messes. Katt alleged that big church donations, million-dollar checks, and flashy charity events were part of a deliberate cover story. And if a spiritual leader asked too many questions, they got pushed aside. No airtime, no book deals. Katt even claimed Jake's knew about a celebrity sex scandal involving one of Diddy's assistants, but refused to expose it publicly, insisting it be handled internally. That's not a pastor. Katt said, that's a fixer. He closed with, there's nothing wrong with God, but a lot wrong with those pretending to speak for him, using faith to hide sin. You ain't a prophet, you're a pimp in a pulpit. Katt looked calmly at the jury and prosecutors and said, you want to know why no one talks? Because everyone knows they're being watched for years. People whispered about Diddy's infamous parties, the candles, the gold rooms, celebrities entering one way and leaving changed. But the real secret wasn't what happened inside. It was how it was recorded. Katt testified that insiders told him about high-tech surveillance hidden throughout Diddy's homes and hotel venues. These weren't doorbell cameras, he said. We're talking pinhole lenses, disguised furniture, ceiling tiles that weren't ceiling tiles, with encrypted backups sent to servers that don't belong to Diddy, they belong to his team. According to Katt, this wasn't just about security. It was about leverage. You walk into one of those rooms and slip up. Diddy's got you. Famous, rich, straight, gay. Over the years, several celebrities confided in Katt not just about what they saw, but about footage that supposedly existed. One man told him, if they ever release what they have on me, I'll never work again. My family would disown me. Katt didn't name names, but made it clear the fear was very real. He referenced the now famous line from Ashton Kutcher, what happens at a Diddy party stays at a Diddy party. Then Katt asked the courtroom, why do you think they say that? Because they know what happens and what's being recorded. He tied these secret recordings to the sudden silence of many stars, artists who once hinted at darker truths but then vanished, changed their music styles, or rebranded themselves with charity work. Katt said blackmail wasn't just a rumor, it was a system. The recordings were no accident. They were meticulously cataloged, dated, and weaponized. He paused before driving the point home. This ain't just about wild parties and sex tapes. This is about control. Diddy had built a digital vault, and anyone who got too comfortable at those parties was probably caught on tape. The courtroom sat in stunned silence as Katt moved to his next point. Let's talk about the ones who tried to speak out and what happened to them. He named Dave Chappelle, who famously walked away from $50 million. People called him crazy, said he fled to Africa. But if you really listen to his specials, he was warning you. Calling someone crazy is the easiest way to dismiss them, Katt said. That's what they did to Dave because he wouldn't play along. Then he brought up Martin Lawrence, remember? When he was running down the street, waving a gun, shouting, they're trying to kill me. That wasn't just a breakdown. It was a man under unbearable pressure trying to warn us. Katt said these weren't isolated incidents, they were the fallout from trying to leave the machine. You don't just quit. You don't just say no. Not when you've seen what they've seen. He mentioned Jaguar, I'll be sure, and others labeled unstable for talking about Kim Porter's death or Diddy's parties. It's the same playbook, Katt said. You speak up, they call you a liar. Then they say you're crazy. Then you disappear. Then he turned to himself. Remember when they said I was on drugs? Said I was losing it. I wasn't high. I was fired up because I saw the system working and tried to warn people, instead of listening. They laughed. Katt revealed that after speaking out against Diddy in interviews, he was audited, blacklisted, and even physically followed. 3 black SUVs with no plates sat outside my house for weeks. No one touched the story. He explained, that's why so many stars stay silent. They've seen what happens when you talk. So they play along. They take the deals. They keep smiling. He finished with a heavy truth. Hollywood doesn't destroy you with violence. It destroys you with silence, labels, exile. And I know because they tried it with me. As Katt prepared to deliver his final words, the courtroom held its breath. He looked first at Diddy, then back at the jury. Y'all think this is just about parties and scandals? Nah, this is about power. Cheating, it doesn't matter. He's got proof. Once he does, you stay silent or you're finished. Katt went on to say several top celebrities confided in him. Katt laid it out plainly: this whole industry had turned into a factory of silence, where loyalty was bought with money, fear, or damaging footage. Every time a new artist signs a deal, or a comedian lands a Netflix special, he challenged everyone to ask, what did they agree to? Who's really pulling the strings behind that green light? It wasn't just Diddy, he was the face, the puppet, but a whole system worked behind him, and they were all complicit. Then Katt dropped a final bombshell. They asked me to sign something too, he said. Offered me a check that would have changed my life. All I had to do was shut up about what I saw. I said no. Turning to the judge, he added, I'm not suicidal. I don't own a gun. I love my family. If something happens to me after this, just know I didn't do it. The courtroom sat stunned. Katt softened his tone. I made jokes. Warned you through comedy. Because if I said it straight, they'd take me out. But now, I've said it plain on record. And the world knows. His voice shook as he looked out. To those who think you're protected, your time is coming. To the victims still scared, I see you. And to Diddy, he locked eyes with him. You didn't just ruin lives, you built an empire on them. But today, that empire starts to fall. As Katt stepped down, there was no applause. No flashbulbs, just a heavy silence. The kind that falls when truth finally slices through the noise. Moving toward the exit, the judge called out, Mr. Williams, anything else for the record? He paused, then turned slowly, as if decades of weight had lifted but not vanished. Yeah, he said, not looking at Diddy, but at the reporters, the cameras, the empty notepad, and the stenographer's lap. There's one more thing. He took a deep breath and pointed not at a person, but at the whole room. You're all waiting for the next headline, who gets indicted next. But what you're really waiting for is permission. Permission to admit you've known this was real all along. You saw the signs, heard the rumors, but didn't want to believe your favorite artist was involved. Didn't want to believe your favorite pastor was complicit, or your favorite actor sold their soul for a franchise deal. He pressed on, this ain't new. It ain't even about me. It's about a generation that's been lied to, manipulated, fed images of success while the truth was hidden. Fame's the carrot, but behind the curtain, there's a price. Some pay with their bodies, some with silence, others with their lives. Walking closer to the jury, he lowered his voice. I've seen too many good people disappear, Kim Porter, Andre Harrell. People who wanted to talk but never got the chance. Now I'm here because I do have that chance, because I will talk. Raising his voice one last time. To everyone who thinks I'm just a comedian, I am. But I'm also a witness, and what I witness will not be forgotten. He nodded, once to the judge, then walked out, not with fanfare or applause, but with something far heavier, truth. And behind that truth, a warning. Everything hidden is coming to light. It's coming to light.